Joseph Angel Young was born in 1834 in Kirtland, Ohio, the oldest son of Brigham Young and Mary Ann Angel. In 1852, Joseph got married. Not long after that, he was called to serve as a missionary in England, 1854, where he would serve for the next 2 years. Joseph returned home the first week of October, 1856, and notwithstanding he'd been gone for 2 years from his family, his father stood at the pulpit in General Conference, President Brigham Young, and called for volunteers and go out and bring the immigrants late arriving on the planes. Joseph went. He rode out, in fact, with the first group, October 7th, 1856. 1 week later, Captain George D. Grant of the rescuers sent 4 men riding up ahead as express riders to find the James G. Willie Handcart Company. Joseph A. was one of those advanced express riders. They found the Willie Company near the 5th crossing of the Sweetwater. Tears filled Joseph's eyes when he saw their starved and suffering condition. They instructed the company, the riders, to keep moving, that wagons with supplies were just ahead of them on the trail. Keep going. Then Joseph and the other 3 riders continued east looking for the Martin Company and the Hunt and Hodgett wagon companies. But the 4 riders were instructed to stop at Devil's Gate and wait for Captain Grant and the other rescue wagons to catch up. They did. And by now, the storms had come, the snow was deep, and it was very cold. Concern for the other 3 companies, yet unfound, ran high. So Captain Grant appointed another team of express rescue searchers. They got the best horses. They mounted up, and Captain Grant's instructions were, go east, find them, and don't come back until you find them. I don't care if you have to ride all the way to the Missouri River. Joseph A. led that team of 3. They found 2 of the companies at Red Butte's camp in Wyoming. Albert Jones was there and gave this description. It was at this place that Joseph A. Young arrived as the leader of the Express Relief Party sent from the valleys by President Brigham Young. He rode a white mule down a snow-covered hill or dugway. The white mule was lost sight of on the white background of snow, and Joseph A., with his big blue soldier's overcoat, its large cape and capacious skirts, rising and falling with the motion of the mule, gave the appearance of a big blue-winged angel flying to our rescue. The scene that presented itself on his arrival, I shall never forget, he said. Women and children surrounded him, weeping, crying aloud on their knees, holding to the skirts of his coat as though afraid he would escape from their grasp and fly away. Joseph stood in the midst, drawn up to his full height, and gazed upon their upturned faces, his eyes full of tears. I, Albert said, boy as I was, prayed, God bless him. From there, Joseph A. and the other riders rode on to the east, found the other wagon company near the last crossing of the Platte River. The riders got them all moving, and then the 3 rescue riders led by Joseph A. turned around and started back to Devil's Gate to inform Captain Grant and the main supply group that they had found him. Along the way, they overtook the Martin Company, struggling up Avenue Hill. They were a pitiful sight. And so the 3 riders stopped, took out their lariats, and helped pull the handcarts up the hill and into camp, and spent a bitter, cold night with the Martin Company out in the open. The next morning, Joseph A. and the 3 riders, the other 2 riders, rode hard for Devil's Gate and informed Captain Grant that they had found him. Then Joseph and the others turned around, mounted up, and rode east again to help the 3 companies reach Devil's Gate. They brought them into Devil's Gate. The weather was so cold, the snow so deep, that it was impossible now for all of those immigrants to move any further. While the rescuers moved all the companies up into Martin's Cove for shelter, Captain Grant knew that someone had to tell President Young just how bad the situation really was. Joseph A. and Abel Gar were appointed to deliver a letter to President Brigham Young, 327 miles away. The two men rode that journey in 10 days, arriving at 4 o'clock in the morning, November 13th, 1856. And along the way, they turned around wagons and teams of rescuers who had given up and were going back to Salt Lake. 3 days later, after arriving in the valley with the letter, November 16th, Joseph A. spoke in the tabernacle, and he said, "All the companies requested me to inform the saints in the valleys to be desired your faith and prayers. They would endeavor to merit them in their journey, and after their arrival, that the blessings of God may attend them is my sincere desire." End quote. It is significant to me that Joseph A. makes no mention of the miles he has spent in the saddle and the effort he has put forth in the rescue. And Joseph A. wasn't finished yet. Again, he turned and went east with heavy wagons and ox teams and broke a trail through the deep snow over Big Mountain so that the immigrants he had found could get into Salt Lake. The last immigrants would not arrive in the Salt Lake Valley until December 15th, 1856. It was estimated that Joseph A. rode over 800 miles on horseback in that short span of time. He just would not quit. In 1864, Joseph A. Young was ordained an apostle, not a member of the Quorum of the 12. In 1875, while serving as the first president of the Sevier Stake, Joseph Angel Young passed away. He was only 40 years of age. One historian described Joseph A. as, quote, endowed with splendid talents, gifted with the genius of statesmanship, and blessed with the magnanimous nature which made him worthy to be the leader of men. He just wouldn't quit. And you know what? Neither should we. Keep going, my beloved friends. Keep going. Good night, and God bless.